Have you ever tried to draw a face turned just to the side a little bit, but it didn't look right? Well, today I'm going to teach you how to draw a 3/4 view portrait. And then after that, I'm going to teach you how to use charcoal. Then we're going to use charcoal to draw a realistic portrait from a photograph. Let's go. To understand how to draw a face from a 3/4 view, you actually need to understand how to draw a face from the front. Now, I have a previous video on how to draw faces from the front, and I totally recommend you check that out before you continue with this video. But if you don't have time, I'm doing a very quick version of how to draw a face from the front. We're not using any reference, so this is not going to be photoreal. This is understanding about where things go on the face. Now we're moving to the right hand side of our drawing, which is going to be the 3/4 view. We can immediately see that we need to shift our center line of our face to the left because our face is going to be turned to the left. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm moving the center line that would split your face in half over to the left. You can see that it curves along with the side of the face. And then your jawline does not go all the way to the right. It stops short of the right side of your skull. Beginning with a curvature where the eyes will be into the cheekbone. That's going to flow into the area of the mouth, and then that's going to flow directly into the chin itself. Please erase your work as you go. Any extra guidelines that don't need to be there, get rid of them because they're only going to get in the way. Add you a little bit of a brow. On a front view, we typically start with the eyes, but for a 3/4 view, I like to start with the eyebrows, and then that flows directly into the nose itself. I do this also because the nose could potentially cut in front of one of your eyes, in this case, the eye on the left-hand side. So it's better to go ahead and get your nose in place first. And I'm starting to draw a few of the planes of the nose to indicate where light and shadow may fall. When you start drawing the eyes, you should immediately notice that the curvature of your eyeball should be visible as your face is turned. We should not see the perfect corners of your eye on both sides, as you would draw an eye from the front view. Now the eye on the right here is going to be a little bit more extended because we should be able to see more of that. There still should be a bit of a curvature on the left-hand side, and then on the right we would see the corner of the eye. Just drawing a few details here for our eyelids and tear ducts. We're going to block in the iris and the pupil, which should be shifted to the right of the eyes. This is going to indicate that the person is looking towards the viewer or the camera. With the mouth, it needs to be shifted to the left just a bit, and the left of your mouth should be quite a bit smaller when your face is turned to the left, and the right hand side should be a bit longer. Because of the curvature of your face, we would see more on the right and less on the left. Adding in your ear, great thing about drawing 3/4 view is you don't have to draw perfect symmetry because we're seeing mostly one side and a little bit of the other side, and the same is true for your hairline here. And with your neck, it needs to be shifted to the right because your face is turned to the left. So I'm about to show you how to use charcoal. It's going to be super messy. Just know that. If you're used to graphite, it's way messier than that. So it's going to get everywhere. So make sure you're working in an area that you can clean up later. The two types of charcoal that I typically use would be a stick charcoal or a pencil-based charcoal. Sticks will allow you to cover large areas faster, and pencils are going to allow you to create more details. When you're blending, you can use a blending stick or a piece of facial tissue. I do not use my finger because I don't want the natural oils of my skin mixing with the charcoal to create an unerasable area. For erasers, I typically use one of two types, either a white eraser, you can see, or I use a kneaded eraser, which is going to make my areas softer. My wife was kind enough to pose for me so I could take some pictures. That way I got to draw my favorite face in the world. As you can see in the photo, I've already used the rule of third guidelines. The reason I've done that is because this is going to allow me to have proper proportions when drawing the face. I know how tall and wide each section should be to make it closer to the original photograph. It's crucial that you're continuing to reference the photograph as you draw. Even though we've reviewed how three-quarter faces should be drawn, those are purely guidelines, and those are starting places, things you can think about, things you can see if your photo reference is similar to the guides of the three-quarter face. But more often than not, you're going to need to make quite a few adjustments. For example, do you need to make the eyes larger or smaller? Do you need to draw the nose thinner, thicker, longer, shorter? You have to make these adjustments based off your observations. It's crucial. So even though we're going to be drawing with charcoal, I want to lay things out in pencil because pencil is going to be far easier to erase. I did have to go back and adjust the mouth because it was a little bit too small. Now I'm starting with charcoal. I'm using one of the charcoal pencils, the Peel and Sketch, and it makes purely black marks. It's a little dark gray in places, but it's really because I just press less. I press softer. So I'm blocking in the big areas of black. I highly recommend you start that way with yours. Start with the darkest areas first because it's easier to make corrections later. Now I'm going back with the facial tissue or a Kleenex and I'm smudging the areas of charcoal to create some lighter gray tones. Now I've gone back with the pencil again and I'm starting to detail, and I'm even cleaning up as I go with an eraser. I'm using a blending stick for the small areas to add in more values. And I'm slowly building those values up. I'm not committing to the complete solid black areas just yet because I'm going to slowly build up those values. And then I'm constantly going back and forth between charcoal, blending sticks, and erasers to get those tones that I need. Again, continuing to reference the photo. If you stop referencing the photo, you will make assumptions and it's going to look flat. I'm going back and filling in with more value. I'm going back and softening areas to make lighter. So it's this constant back and forth between light and dark. Adding charcoal and taking it away to create the values and tones to make your face look as 3D as possible. Now I'm building on my layers to get those really rich darks in there to make it look a little bit more 3D. Now from the background, I'm just laying my charcoal stick on its side, layered down some charcoal, and then went back with the facial tissue and blended it out. I did have to go back on the edge with a blending stick to get all the way up to the edge of the face without smudging. And adding in those final details for the hair, making sure to leave areas that I need to retain the light that is shining on her hair. And blending where I need to and going back and erasing to make those highlights really pop. Hopefully you found this video helpful for getting used to charcoal and learning how to draw a 3/4 view portrait. If you use any of these techniques, please share with me on Instagram at createartwithchris.
If you liked today's video, go ahead and click on this one too. And while you're at it, go ahead and subscribe to Create Art with Chris right here.